Hey y'all, and welcome to Recovered, Interviews with Alcoholics, a podcast from the Magdalen House, a recovery community for alcoholism. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization based in Dallas, Texas, and known affectionately by many as Maggies. Every first and third Wednesday, we bring you a new release from one of our 3 podcast series. In the Recovered series, a recovered alcoholic active in our community shares experiences from their recovery journey as they work the 12 steps to achieve sobriety and sustain recovery, with your host, me, Bryn Hansen, recovered alcoholic and the community program manager here at the Magdalen House. Whether you're in recovery yourself, contemplating giving it a try, curious about sobriety, or supporting someone who is, we are so glad that you're here. Thanks for listening. Hey y'all, welcome to Recovered, Interviews with Alcoholics. I'm Bryn Jarvinen, your host, and also a grateful recovered alcoholic. Today, we will be talking to a lovely lady from our community who has just been the most kind and sweetest since I met her when I got here 2 years ago, and I'm really excited to sit down and have this conversation. So I am really excited to introduce to you Madeline Burch. Would you please like to give us your sobriety date?
Sure, yeah. I'm Madeline Burch. I'm a recovered alcoholic. My sobriety date is February 26th of 2022.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Bren.
Absolutely. This is coming out during Recovery Month,
which is
September.
Wow. Okay, so I'm trying to think.
No pressure.
No pressure.
You're representing Recovery Month.
Whoa. Whoa. Let me just take a deep breath.
Well, let's see here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what it was like leading up to February 2022? What makes you, what qualifies you as an alcoholic?
Sure, great. Yeah, I'm so happy to talk about that. It's something I sometimes take for granted that we learn here at Maggie's exactly what it means to be an alcoholic, because, we hear it. If you're going through the house, you hear 1, 2, and 3 so many times, and it's become such an integral part of my identity that I forget that there was a time that I had no idea what an alcoholic was. I was just like, yeah, I've got to be one because I drink like a crazy person.
Blackout all the time.
All the time.
Right.
All the time. But I didn't understand.
I get it.
At all.
No.
So I remember I started drinking. I drank with family when I was young. And I remember also the first time I probably had any alcohol was First Communion and just being like, ooh, yeah, that feels nice. And I would regularly try to wrestle the chalice from the priest. But I didn't start drinking socially until I was maybe 17 or 18. No, I must have been 18 because I was a very serious student. So I got into college first. I had to get into college first. And from the get-go, I was like, ooh, yeah, well, this feels like something I'm going to have to address eventually. Not now.
I'm enjoying it now.
I'm enjoying it now. I can finally let go of all of the very right behavior, good student, good kid. My parents probably would have said otherwise, but
you felt like you could relax a little bit, let go.
Yeah. I could be what I thought was a normal teenager. But of course that very quickly morphed into having little to no control over it. To the point that even within my freshman year of college, I was telling myself, I'm never going to drink again.
Oh, wow.
And I couldn't do it. And so I just gave up on that. But fast forward a few years, it continued to just take more and more of my life and more of me. And I didn't understand what was going on. I thought I was just insane.
Same. I did too.
Right, yeah. And you're you want to go to the psychiatrist or the therapist, like, not because you want a solution to your drinking so much, or at least that was my thought. I just wanted someone to tell me, this is what's wrong with you, not the alcohol. This is what's wrong with you. Take this pill, you'll be fine, and you'll be able to drink like a normal person.
Yes, I wanted the same thing. I went into treatment and I was like, I think I'm bipolar.
Oh my God.
And my counselor was like, well, good news, you're not. But you are an alcoholic.
Right.
Like,
No, that's bad news.
No.
Bad news. Just give me a pill. I don't want to do all of this work.
Exactly.
Are you kidding me? I want to be able to still drink.
Yep.
Even though it's just like destroying you inside, I kind of like didn't make that connection.
It wasn't the alcohol that was destroying.
No.
Isn't that wild? It's like I can't control my liquor consumption, but it's not the alcohol that's the problem.
Right. No. Couldn't be.
Right. No, it's where I'm going to school, or that I need a new relationship, or that I need a different job.
Right. Exactly. I thought, too, there's something really wrong with me that I can't deal with life the way that my friends can, or the way that the people around me. Let's be honest, I didn't have friends. I had people in my vicinity who weren't alcoholics. So it's weird. I was mostly surrounded by normal people, like normal drinkers who could drink with impunity, who didn't have the allergy and didn't have that mind that continually rerouted them to alcohol. And so I saw how they were moving through life, how they could function, just function. And I couldn't understand it. I thought I was just so bad, so corrupt in some way, or so weak. I really thought I was really, really weak. That's why, like, I couldn't stop, and why every morning I woke up and I was so miserable. I just didn't want to be alive, really.
Yeah.
I didn't really start to understand that the connection between, okay, you're drinking a depressant and you're waking up so miserable you cannot make it through life every single morning. I thought I was just like preternaturally depressed, which, who knows, maybe that's true too, but that's definitely not the root of the problem.
Right. Again, another pill.
Right.
To give me to just be normal.
Yeah.
Antidepressant.
Yes.
I've thought that many times.
So many times. And, like, I don't know if this is fair to, like, okay to say on the podcast, but I mean, I do still take them.
I am on antidepressants.
Yeah, right? I'm like, oh, I'm so glad. But now they actually work.
Right.
And I, like, am really grateful for them. But I can see, I think now it's really cool with a little bit of time, more and more. I can see the difference between when it's depression and when it's spiritual malady.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah. And my sponsor also really helps me distinguish between those two things too, like, which is so vital, because there are some times for sure that I will say, I think I'm really depressed. And she's like, no, I think you're in spiritual malady. Like, your self will run riot over here. And then, so thank God for sponsorship.
Right. I am right there with you.
Oh my God. I don't know. I just, like, I can't stand my coworkers. No one's doing the right thing. I'm angry all the time. I'm, I guess, I haven't, done any meetings. I'm not doing my nightly. I'm not praying, but I'm definitely depressed. This is the answer.
And that's why I'm not doing any of those things.
Exactly. And then, thank God that I think this is kind of like a random side thought, but thank God that at the beginning, when your sponsor is first going through the steps with you, they kind of inure you to, or at least my sponsor inured me to her, I don't want to say reprimands, but she took the feelings out of it.
Oh yeah, mine says that all the time. Like, feelings are not facts.
Right. So she can tell me, I can tell her it's depression, and she can be like, no, that's absolutely not what it is. And she tells me about myself, and
She gives it to you bluntly.
yes, and I can hear that now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can hear that from her, especially. I'm not like offended that she's saying it's not depression.
Right.
I take it in.
Whereas maybe beforehand.
I mean, if I am really spiritually sick, I will be offended. But then that's also a signal that I really need to get right with my higher power. It's my ego talking, which is so big.
See, but I think like that's what's so cool about sobriety is being able to go through these experiences that now help us, and I'm sure a lot of other people, to be able to discern what is alcoholism and what is not.
Yeah. And what's cool too is that even if it's not alcoholism, I always find doing I always find doing the program is going to help in some way. Like, yes, I'm going to, maybe if it is depression, I'm going to go get help from a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
If I do, my sponsors, like, she'll tell she's not, against therapy or anything. If she tells me, and we talk about this. I mean, oh God, I feel like I'm going all over the place, and I'm probably not giving any context for this. But I teach a really high risk population of kids, and that entails a lot of like taking on things that I don't realize until later. And this is all something I'm learning kind of now because I just finished my first year. So like taking on things that I don't realize are actually impacting me. I think I'm totally fine.
Like that are not yours. Taking things on that are not yours.
Yes.
And empathetic.
Yeah, a lot of, just hearing things day in and day out that are hard to hear. And I really do rely on God for those things. And like, I talk to my sponsor, but maybe that is something that I'm kind of exploring the idea of like, maybe that's something, I don't know what, I don't know how therapy is supposed to work now in sobriety. I only know what I did for years before getting recovered. But maybe that's something where like I can talk to a therapist about. I don't know.
Like you can utilize the tool of therapy for this experience that you're having around being an empath and learn new tools around how to not take that on.
Yes, and how to process things in a way that's healthy emotionally rather than just kind of push it down and tell myself I'm okay when maybe I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like without the program, I'm not able to understand too, like how to use my other tools. Like I'm so self-will run riot that I want to believe myself to be capable of taking on the whole world's problems and be still okay. And that's really egotistical.
Well, I mean, and isn't that like, the disease delusion?
Oh, yeah. I mean, to go back a little bit, if that's okay. Because I do want to make sure, like, I'm hammering home the fact that, like, I'm not just a bad drinker or, like, someone who first of all, I was never a partier. And I think that's sometimes what people think of. They think of, the party girl who just takes it a little bit too far. And for me, that wasn't the case. Like, I am a dyed-in-the-wool, just, like, geek with, not that party girls can't be geeks.
You're my little Miss Frizzle.
Oh my God, thank you. That's the kindest thing you could say to me. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually originally would tell myself I'm a better writer when I'm drunk. Like, I can write these papers well. Because I was also like so anxious, and I, don't start anything unless you're going to do it perfectly. That perfectionism also like just so tied in with the spiritual malady. But it wasn't until I came to Maggie's that I learned, I knew there was something really wrong with my
Right.
mind. That was clear. I didn't know exactly what it was, but I knew it was there. When I came to Maggie's is when I first heard about the allergy. And that's so funny to me because I had actually been in AA. You know, was I super serious about being in AA? No, I just wanted the heat off my back. Like, don't take away my solution. I can't imagine life without this. But that's when I learned that it wasn't that I loved alcohol so much, which is why I just kept chasing the drink once I started drinking.
Yeah.
It wasn't that I just wanted more of that feeling.
That I was having so much fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, that doesn't explain why, you know, I've thrown up and I'm still pouring vodka down my throat. Like, I'm miserable.
Right.
I don't want to be drinking, but I'm still pouring vodka down my throat. It's that when I take alcohol, any form at all, into my body, as we know, like, I set off a phenomenon of craving. And I know there are people with, like, biology degrees who can explain that. I can't.
Yeah, I'm no scientist, but I do know that, like, people who are allergic to, I don't know, penicillin, when they need antibiotics, are they going to be like, yeah, give me some penicillin?
Right. No.
Yeah, I don't know how it works. I just know it's a sensitive reaction.
Right. And when you have felt that and it's explained to you, it makes all the sense in the world. You're like, oh my God, that's what it was. Because it feels like I want to scratch my skin off because if I am told I can't have another drink, like, I am grinding my teeth to a pulp. If I've had one sip of vodka, and I used to do this where I would measure out, like, a little capful of vodka and say, like, this is going to take the edge off, but it won't get me buzzed, so I won't feel it, so I won't want more.
I've used to do that too.
No way. You're like, this is the solution.
Yes. This is how I'm going to manage and control it.
Exactly. But of course, we're like, I will finish that bottle, go get another bottle, and like, there's no end until I physically cannot, because I'm probably, like, both drunk and detoxing several days later. It's a horrible existence because then I might be drunk and detoxing several days later. But once I start to feel better, I'm going to need a drink again.
Yeah, it's like you forget what you just went through.
Exactly. Or I might not even have forgotten. I might just be
or
like,
just not care.
I can't not do it.
Yeah.
Like, my last drink, I knew exactly what was going to happen. Like, I mean, I didn't obviously know exactly what was going to happen, but I knew I was going down a really dangerous path. Like, and towards the end, I would do super dangerous. I would put myself in just terrible situations when drinking. And so I walked in, God, I can't even remember exactly how it started, except that I think I had, like, a bottle of wine the night before or something, and woke up. I was supposed to go to work. I called out sick on the way to work and went into a bar and, you know, and then I made it to Maggie's by the grace of God.
And how did you end up here? Because you're not from this area.
Well, I grew up here, but I was.
You did?
Yeah, I did. I was living in Chicago when I came here the first of 4 times.
Oh, I don't think I knew that.
No, yeah, I forgot. Like, I don't think you.
I didn't know.
Sober.
I didn't know pre-sober Madeline.
Oh, God, that's so special.
I've only known you since you've been spiritually awake.
Oh, I was such a mess.
Hey.
It was awful.
It's fine. You didn't know me pre-sobriety, and I was the same way.
I still find desire chips just, like, littered throughout my house and my car, and I always put them back where I found them because I like finding them.
It's a good reminder.
It is, and it gives me a lot of joy too, because it reminds me where I could have been when I got that, and how happy that woman would be now to see where I am finding it. So it carries a lot of joy for me.
Yeah.
Are you or someone you know struggling with the inability to stop drinking? At the Magdalen House, we believe that individuals with alcoholism deserve a place to recover with dignity. In our 2-week residential program, clients will be introduced to what alcoholism is and be presented with a solution, all in a loving and supportive environment. Our programs are absolutely no cost, and because we accept no government money, we can accept men and women from all over the world. If you want to stop drinking and cannot, call 214-324-9261 to do a phone screening.
But yeah, when I first came down here...
What year was that, your first time?
It must have been 2020 because it was right like maybe 8 or 9 months into the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And I had moved in kind of with, I mean, can we say moved in? My ex, so much I'm not even going to bother explaining. But I think he was so worried that I was going to be drinking all alone in my apartment that I kind of moved in with him in the pandemic. But
Totally.
It was so weird. And that's when he figured out that I was not at all sober.
Not okay.
I just, God, this poor man. I actually just made what I pray to God is my final amends to him like 2 weeks ago. And we've been broken up for maybe 2.5 years, 2 years. But yeah, he basically was like,
wow.
I don't know about you, like you're gonna do what you do, but I need help. And he's from France, so he's like, we're going to your parents and they can, so because I need help. He was like, for him, he was like, I don't know what to do. And that's when we found Maggie's. But yeah, that was the first time. Each time I learned something new. It wasn't until the last time that I was like, I don't know anything. I was always trying to figure out the logic behind it.
Yep.
And
you're a books smart facts knowledge kind of person, so that also makes sense.
Thank you. I love my books.
Yeah.
But this program has taught me so much. That's taught me how to live more in like my soul.
Yeah.
You know, I love to use my brain still. It's like one of my favorite tools.
Yeah.
But I know too now that there's a knowledge that I can get from my spirit, from my soul, from within, that I'll never be able to explain or understand. And that is, and when I think back on it, like even on my like education, I think that's also something that philosophers have tried to explain, the aporias, the things that will never be known.
Yep.
And they do it in these beautiful words, but it's so true.
Yeah. It's almost like they're all kind of like phenomena within themselves.
Yeah.
Like you can see a change or but you can't really explain it. Like you just feel it.
Yes. We don't know why this works, but we know from experience that it does. And it's not like the program's asking us to do anything. And it's not like the things they're asking us, I would look at them and be like, why on earth would I do that? That makes no sense. Like, no, they're all things that go into being a good and decent whole person.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that we would do these things. It just, the consequences of it are so much grander than what we could comprehend, what I could anticipate or believe. That making logic out of that, the A plus B equals a world you could never imagine, is so hard to grasp that you just have to get to a point where like, I give up on trying to grasp it. I can't.
No. And, you know, like Dr. Bob used to say, keep it simple.
Yeah. Keep it, oh my God. Such good advice.
Because we love to keep things not simple all the time.
Oh my God. It makes things so fun when you're just like.
Love to overcomplicate.
Oh, yes.
Overthink, overanalyze.
Nice little MC Escher world for us. Don't know what's down. So fun.
Oh, man. So 4 times in 2 years?
That sounds
like,
right.
So
yeah.
kind of off on, sober, not sober. And then so 2022. And the thing is like, did you hear anything different that last time around? Or did it just hit differently?
I think, honestly, one of the things that was so different this last time was that I was going in fully knowing that what happened in my relationship was not in my hands. And I had been trying to canvas that. I don't know if that's the right term, but I was trying to shove that relationship into the kind of life that, you know, my higher power would have me lead, regardless of the consequences. And of course, the consequences were always going to be me drinking again, because that's me forcing my way in the world and selfishly taking this man with me, even though we're not meant to be together. Right. Like, he, absolutely wonderful human being.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Right.
If we had wound up together, we would have driven each other absolutely insane.
I mean, that's something that it's like, oh, we're compatible. Like, compatible doesn't mean I'm bad, you're better, or you're bad, or I'm better. Some people are just more compatible than others. And I'm like, oh my God, that's such a simple concept. But it took me like 36 years to understand.
Of course. Yeah, it's so hard to understand. And I don't want to downplay like how absolutely gut-wrenchingly painful the end of that relationship was. Because I think it had been another obsession of mine.
I was going to say, do you think that you were putting reliance in something else, like in a relationship, for your happiness?
100%. And he saw that too, which is just painful for him, I'm sure. Yeah, that was... it was funny because I grew up with this like really strong sense of identity and who I was, and, you know, also thinking, okay, I'm going to be able to fully be that person when this happens or this happens. Never would I have thought I'm going to be able to be that person when I almost die of alcoholism and then recover.
Right.
But I thought that relying on a man or a relationship was total anathema, and I found myself doing exactly that because there was no security in who I was. It was gone.
Yeah.
Which I mean, that's another miracle of this program, is that, I mean, that's a miracle that I can't even explain my gratitude for. But where was I going with this? Oh, yeah. When that relationship ended, it was so gut-wrenching. There was a time that I had gotten a message from him at work, and the color went out of my face, and I felt like I couldn't breathe. And my coworker looked at me. He was like, "Are you okay?" And I had to go to the bathroom to just like have a panic attack. I felt like I was having a heart attack. It was just awful, the most profound sadness and really grief. But then at the same time, every day I would drive home from work, I would cry, and then I would laugh because I was absolutely flabbergasted by the thought that in this deep sadness and in this grief for this relationship that I had hung my entire identity upon, the problem of alcohol had been removed entirely. And the insanity of that was something that I can't explain. I was so grateful for that and for the program around me that I could then like go pour into other people. And it was okay to not be okay. I mean, I wasn't going to come up here and like tell people my problems, but I could be sad and then go and help someone. I didn't have to like show up as a rainbow every single day.
Right.
But I had to be there for other women. And that purpose, was huge.
Yeah. So then prior, because at this point, like after the obsession had been removed, and because you had worked the steps prior, obviously, to
quite a few
to
times.
this last time.
Yeah.
Did you Had you made it all through all 12 steps previously?
Oh, Bren, I had made it through all 12 steps probably 10 times prior.
Really?
Now, I didn't do them thoroughly or honestly because that would entail letting go of my way of thinking. I was doing them, I wanted to look good doing them.
Been there.
So badly. I mean, I did want to be sober, but it was more important to me to have the relationship than to be spiritually healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that now. I couldn't see that then. I mean, for the first time, I was so desperate. I did not care what it looked like. I knew I was going to be making mistakes left and right, and it didn't matter.
But I think from that, because very similar for me. Like, I thought I had wanted it. Looking back, I'm like, no, I didn't really want it. I just wanted the consequences to stop.
Yes.
But I wanted to keep doing what I was doing. I think, like, from that, a great foundation can be built.
Yes. Because everything else is fallen down. Or you are finally accepting that everything is fallen down, whereas before I always thought I just wanted to like clean up the life
like
I
remodel.
had. Yes, a nice little remodel, some new furniture. But that's not how it works. You have to be willing to have an entirely new life.
Yeah, like a complete demolish.
Yes.
Rebuild.
Mm-hmm. And then what's rebuilt, it's totally it's who you were meant to be. It's like, I think there's that kernel that maybe is planted in you from like at a really young age, and maybe it gets obscured. Like it says in the book, obscured by calamity. But mostly that within ourselves. Yep. That is finally like free to flourish and build, and that's who I get to be today.
Yeah.
Which... yeah, I was thinking about it on the way here and why what motivates me to still do this program. And, you know, if I'm like super unwilling, then it's like, okay, yeah, I don't want to drink.
Right.
If I'm super unwilling to do something.
Yeah.
But that seldom happens because the first thing I think is I really like being this person. Like, I never would have said I like the person I am before, but I actually
like yourself.
like myself.
But I'm right. I agree. The cool thing is we think we're coming into this program to just stop drinking, and what ends up happening is we get to a place where we actually love ourselves.
Mm-hmm. It really is just the most wonderful thing in the world. And then you get to share that with other women, and it is, I finally see what my sponsor was talking about when she would tell me at the very beginning when I was, you know, half doing this program, not really doing this program, she would tell me, you have no idea what you're missing. You are selling yourself and your life so short, because this program is so much more than sobriety. And me being as arrogant as I am wont to be, I was like, oh my God, you're so arrogant. You think you know me and what I'm experiencing. And she was so right. And now I want to go scream into these women like, you have no idea.
This podcast is made possible by donors of the Magdalen House. All donations help us provide programs and services to alcoholics and their families at absolutely no cost. If you'd like to donate, text Maggies to 44321 or visit magdalenhouse.org/donate. By making a donation of any amount, you can help save the life of the next alcoholic searching for the solution.
I've done a couple of fourth steps in recovery, one of which was probably the most profound experience, like the biggest change that I had. Like, I think a light switched on after I did it, because it really was the moment that oh God, it was the only four step that I have ever done where afterwards I was angry, I was hurt, I was disgusted by myself, and
those are the best ones.
Oh, I hated it. But 2 days later, I called it just I remember I was doing a U-turn and I called my sponsor crying, saying, I am so sorry. I have been awful. I have been impatient. I have been holding on to things, and you have guided me through this. You've been so patient. Thank you. I am so grateful for that
A
experience.
spiritual experience, it sounds like.
Huge.
Yeah.
The only time I've had, I think, just one of those thoroughly, like, immediate.
The sudden upheaval.
Yes, the sudden upheaval.
Yeah.
Thank you. Where everything flipped.
Oh, that's the good stuff.
Ooh, it was so good. It was good. It was a hard one. And now I'll do inventory and, like, if I need to, if I can't figure out what is wrong, and it doesn't hurt as much. It's not like always, but I do it immediately.
Right, because it's a tool.
Yes.
It's not like, oh my God, I have to do this. I'm like, oh my God, I need some clarity. Pen to paper.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last time I did it, I had called my sponsor. I was like, something is up. I can't figure it out. But I knew because it was that I had dropped my phone in between my seat and console in my car, which is annoying, but I had an outsized reaction. I was so mad about it. I was like, oh, I'm not well. I'm not well. This is an augur of something bigger. And she said, she was like, she doesn't know either.
Yeah.
Do some inventory. And I could not have turned home faster to write that inventory, to be like, what is going on? And of course, the fourth column says it all.
Yep.
Like, it was so obvious. I was expecting everyone in my life to behave the way I thought they should be behaving, which is something I should see. You would think. You would think. Yes. Yeah, I would think I would see. But, it just wasn't clicking for me until I wrote it down. And again, it's like followed by that, like, ecstatic laughter of, oh my gosh.
Like, of course.
Of course. And then relief. Mm-hmm. And, of course, prayer and bringing God into it. It's almost like laughing with this spirit of the universe.
Which is quite humorous.
It is.
They've got quite the sense of humor.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh my God, I love that. So now it sounds like, which I think is really cool about this program, is like when we are recovered, right? Like not cured, but we're recovered. We enjoy doing this work and living this program. And like, that's what you sound like. You sound like just utter joy and gratitude that it's a privilege to work this program.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It really is. And I do it so imperfectly. Like, I'm really bad at sending my nightlies. I will sometimes, get on my phone in the morning before I do my prayer. Like, of course. But then I go back. It's like the rubber bands used to pull me back to my old ways, and now I feel like the rubber band kind of pulling me back to this program is stronger and like continues to grow stronger. And too, I'm so lucky I have the sponsor I have who reminds me and can point out to me, oh, I think you're kind of like, how does she say it? She's like, you're kind of out there in space. Come closer. And it's not a bad thing. It's just like, come closer.
Yeah.
Let's stay together.
You're too far to see.
Yes, exactly. And it's a nice reminder, and I'm really so grateful to her for that. Like, God, and just this whole community, to have people around me who remind me and show me every day how to do this. And then too, like, I've had kind of a dry period with sponsees, but I've gotten to take a lot of people through 1, 2, and 3.
Oh,
a lot of that, which I will never downplay the joy of that.
no, never. I mean, that's intensive work with other alcoholics. Yeah. But like, y'all, that is what's so wild. That's the norm. It's rare to get someone through the 12 steps.
I've gotten one sponsee through the 12 steps, And then she changed sponsors, which, again, one of the cool things about this is that I'm not offended by that. I'm just like,
Go you!
go you! You're taking control of your... And too, because I changed sponsors from someone I love dearly and who I admire with my whole heart to my current sponsor. And it was really just because I knew there was something that my current sponsor, who was with me at the very beginning and had to kindly, lovingly let me go, she knew something about me that I didn't want her to know. Not like a thing or an event. And I can't put a finger on what it was, but she saw something about me that I didn't really want anyone to see. And I knew that she was the one.
It
like,
was time.
I was like, yeah, she's going to see me, the full picture.
Yeah.
I think my sponsor kind of warned me about this because I get so excited when I get a new sponsee. I kind of show all my cards. And that's how I am in life, too. Just in life in the open. I am an open-hearted, like, heart on my sleeve. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe there's something to learn from that. Maybe I need to have more chill. But the joy of just having someone be willing to do something, anything, even if it's those first steps and they go out and drink again and maybe they've learned something.
Yes, the seed. You're a seed planter.
Oh my gosh, my roommate who works here. I don't know if I can say names.
Yeah,
but
you
anyway,
totally
yeah.
can.
Okay, Natalie.
Yeah.
Yeah, she oh God, I learned so much from her all the time. And she will remind me because so much of her job is planting. That's her job is planting seeds. And so she will help me remember through her work and what she says that also applies so much to my job,
Right.
which I absolutely could not do without this program.
You're planting seeds. I mean, I know a lot of people's experience. Like, there's teachers that I remember that have, like, played not even necessarily, like, a ginormous impact, but even just, like, the littlest one.
And that's what I hope, you know? It's hard when you can feel like the hatred towards you is palpable from a child. But divorcing yourself from it personally, being like, okay, they know a sliver of this person that I am, and that doesn't, you know, maybe it's going to give me information about something I've done. Maybe not. Maybe I learn from them. Maybe I do learn and see, like, I've erred in this way because God knows I mess up so much every single day at work. And I think the fast-paced nature of it and just, like, the number of decisions I have to make on a daily basis, it prevents me from staying in that, thank God. But, yeah, there's a lot to learn from it, but a lot of it is just not about me. I don't know.
You are, you know what I have written at the very top of the chapter, Working with Others? It's not about me.
Yeah.
It is. It's the same exact thing.
Now I'm more accustomed to, you know, having like hatred directed at me or, you know, inappropriate comments. And so it's more automatic.
And y'all mind you, these are not like children. These are teenagers.
They are teenagers.
Ugh. Do you remember when you were that age? Ugh. Don't even get me started.
I love them though.
I know. You love it so much.
And I love these because even the kids that are rough to deal with.
Yeah.
My heart is just like, I love them so much. I just want to like wrap them up in a hug. I mean, granted, at the end of the year, I was like, I'm so done with you. But this is like a month in, and now I really want to see them in a couple weeks.
Oh my God, you're going into your second year teaching.
Yeah. So I'm not burnt out yet. We'll see.
I don't know. I see you being a really great teacher for quite a while.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I hope so. But I have accepted that that's not necessarily my job to decide. That isn't
Look
my
at
job
you.
to decide. We'll see. And I mean, I went into this at the beginning. I was like, God, I really, really, really hope that I get to be a teacher for the rest of my life, or, you know, career. Let's not say life. I'd like some retirement, but now I think, you know, just throws the hard knocks.
You want what God wants for you.
Yeah.
More than what you want yourself.
Yeah. It's like experience has shown me over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
That what God wants for me is so much better than what I can imagine. Every aspect.
Oh, that's so good.
It's so lucky.
Attitude of gratitude, baby.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Y'all need to come catch Madeline every other Sunday at 1 p.m. She chairs a meeting up here. Everybody loves her.
Oh.
So good. So, yeah, we would love to have y'all in one of her meetings. You know, sponsoring women, teaching little ones. I mean, you are a very huge testament to this program and practicing these principles in all your affairs.
Thank you. I can't express enough how this place has changed my life, and this community has completely. It not only saved my life, it gave me a life and made it into something useful.
Yeah. Oh, that's the biggest promise. That's the best promise. If there was one thing out of this whole podcast that you would want a woman or a man out there that's struggling to hear, what would you want to leave them with?
This program it's not the steps that got us sober. It's like a relationship, a spiritual life that is in tune with a power so much greater than us, and that being attuned to that is what will allow you to endure whatever pain there is, and knowing that is an end result, being able to take on whatever pain, whatever emotions you experience in life, using that as like your guidepost. Just persevere, just keep going, because there is if you continue these steps, there is an end to whatever agony there is, definitely, that I think, you know, we all do experience at the beginning of sobriety. Like it's inevitable.
No, completely.
But on the other side, there's something so much greater, and like a peace and a calm that touches so deep within you. Just please. And God, I mean, I don't want to ramble, but like, you know too that that pain will return, and you want to be spiritually fit for when that happens. So if you get out and you're everything you think is hunky-dory, like the rule of life is like entropy and chaos, and don't you want to be able to meet that on your own 2 feet?
Oh my gosh, it's like sounds like meeting calamity with serenity.
Yes, oh my God, thank you. The book says it so much quippier and better.
Thank you so much. This has been like one of my favorite conversations ever.
Oh my God, thank you. This is really fun.
I can't, like, the time has just flown.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my
this
God.
is really fun. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you so much for coming. And seriously, y'all, come on down every other Sunday, 1 p.m. Meet Madeline, hear her share her experience, strength, and hope. And we'll catch you on the next episode, guys. Bye.
This has been Recovered, Interviews with Alcoholics, hosted by Brent Hansen and brought to you by the Magdalen House. I'm Kelsey Amos, host of our Recover Ed podcast series. We hope you've enjoyed this podcast. Tune in every first and third Wednesday for a new release from one of our 3 podcast series. To learn more about the Magdalen House and the services we offer, visit magdalenhouse.org or follow us on your favorite social media channels by searching for the Magdalen House.